Welcome to our gentle class this week, and our theme is really about how you want to feel. So we've been all over the map with resilience and thriving for the last 9 weeks. And we started out with the idea of resilience. So when we kind of get triggered or we get, out of our what's called window of tolerance, where our nervous system is, we're feeling stressed, basically, is the short answer. But when we're feeling stressed, how we can re-regulate ourselves or get ourselves back to a more calm place more quickly than just riding the waves and telling the stories. And the last few weeks, we've been working more with the idea of thriving. So how do we go from just surviving, getting to this place where, okay, I'm not totally stressed out and I feel okay, to moving into a place where we feel like we're really thriving in our lives. And it doesn't matter how old you are, right? We all want to thrive in our lives. We want to feel good in our bodies. We want to feel excited about getting up in the morning and whatever it is that makes you feel like you're thriving. And so we've been looking at, what do I really want, and kind of all of the ideas around that. And this week I want to sort of take it even a little bit deeper to how do you want to feel? So I may have mentioned this before, but there's this book that was written some time ago called The Secret. And, the idea is that whatever you wish for, if you really focus on it and think about it a lot, it's going to come true. And I did that. I don't have a fancy car in my driveway. The things didn't necessarily come true. Some things actually did come true. Some things came true in different ways than I expected. But the point is that no matter how much we want something and we think about it, if we're internally blocked, if we're sort of holding back or don't believe that we deserve it or don't believe it's possible, it's our subconscious is keeping us from having our goal. So today we're going to really kind of tune into how you want to feel and bring that feeling in, invite it in, and then notice anywhere there's resistance, where there's a different feeling, acknowledge it, give it space. So we're really kind of making room for all that is so that we don't have to push down, so that we can get what we want, and let the resistance just be without having to push it down, push it away. So we're going on a bit of a journey today. So I invite you to lie down, get comfortable, and just start to tune into your breath. And I'll meet you there. So you can come onto your back, really any position that's comfortable, but usually lying on the back with either knees bent or legs straight is a nice position for the spine. So the spine is supported, the head is supported, and do feel free to have a blanket under your head or a pillow, whatever might be comfortable for you. You can have your knees bent, your legs straight, as I mentioned. If you have your knees bent, you could take the feet a little wider, let the knees fall together so that you're really comfortable here. We're going to take a moment to drop in and just really arrive on the mat here. So taking a few breaths, just letting your body settle. Start to be aware of the ground beneath you. So going back to one of our earlier classes, grounding and feeling the body. So notice your edges, where your body ends and the ground begins or the air begins. Soften your exhale, sink down. And if you're feeling low energy, rather than really focusing on your exhale and sinking down, you might focus on taking slightly deeper, fuller inhales and really filling the space. Belly, chest, filling with air, exhaling comfortably. So now I'd love to invite you to imagine how you'd like to feel. So maybe you want to feel more lighthearted. Maybe you want to feel more focused. Maybe you want to feel more alive. Maybe you want to feel more at ease. And it might be just turning that up by a degree. Maybe you already feel pretty good and just turning it up a little bit. So just imagine how you'd like to feel a little bit more. Now as you breathe, sending some energy into that idea, so breathing into that idea of having a little more of this feeling in your life. And as we go through the class today, I invite you to come back to this feeling, how you want to feel, and inviting it into your body, breathing and making space for this feeling in your life. And then also checking in if there's any resistance. So that could be a thought or a story, like I couldn't possibly have this, or but what about that? Or if there's some tension in your body when you imagine yourself feeling this way, perhaps another part of your body tenses up. So just noticing any physical or mental chatter that feels like resistance to this idea. And then simply allowing that resistance to be. So we don't need to push it away. We don't need to analyze what it means. Just allowing it to be, whether that's a story or a contraction in your body. We're going to bring in a little bit of movement. And we'll keep coming back to this idea of how do I want to feel and inviting more of that in. So if your mind wanders, you can use that as a theme to come back to anytime. So you're going to raise the arms up toward the ceiling now and circle the wrists around gently. Go one way and the other. You can try with open hands or you can try with fists. And again, one of those tools of resilience, or those everyday tools of bringing down stress, is just to notice, to feel your body, feel each sensation. It takes us out of our minds, which can be really god-awful places sometimes. You can relax your hands, give the hands a shake. Right, and then letting the arms come down, you can bring the knees up in toward the chest, letting your hands rest on the side of your thighs. So you can keep your elbows right on the ground, elbows bent about 90 degrees, hands just resting on the side of your thighs. And then letting the knees go side to side, just a little bit to one hand to the other. So you're just kind of rocking across your lower back, and the hands just there to provide a little support and send you a bit side to side. Right, and then bringing the hands onto the knees, you can straighten the arms, take a breath in, let the knees move away. And then as you exhale, let the knees come in towards your body, bending the elbows, gently squeezing in. Continuing that pattern a few more times. If it feels better to just let the breath be natural, that's fine, just as long as you're breathing. And again, you might tune into the sensations in your body. Notice how the weight shifts on your lower back. Maybe notice when your thighs come in close to your belly. And then follow any movement that would feel good. So maybe that's circling the knees either together or apart. Maybe that's bringing the feet back to the floor or stretching out. Taking a moment. Tuning in. What would feel good to you right now? Right, and then let's bring the feet back to the ground. So letting the arms come away from the body now to the sides. And taking that a little further to each side as it feels good. So knees going toward the floor, coming back to center. Knees going the other direction, back to center. And really letting your body be the guide of how far. Right? So your body will tell you if you slow down and listen. Great, and then coming back to the center. Let's bring the knees back in toward the chest and repeating either that back and forth movement or maybe the circular or side to side movement. Just bringing the spine back to a nice aligned position after the twist. So again, really encourage you to slow down, tune in, feel your body. One or two more breaths here. And then you can bring your feet to the floor. Stretch your legs out. If it feels comfortable, you can take the arms overhead and take a big stretch. A few breaths here, maybe yawning or sighing or humming on your exhale is another way of sort of regulating and softening the edges. Right, and then as you're ready, you can bend your knees again. And bring the arms down to your sides. Palms facing the ground. We'll raise the arms up toward the ceiling and keep bringing them overhead. Bending your elbows if you need to. Stopping when it feels like there's resistance. And then coming back down to your sides. So lifting. You can breathe in if you're coordinating your breath as you lift. Exhale as you're bringing your arms down. Right. Next time you're bringing your arms down, you're going to bring one knee in toward your chest. And stretch the other leg straight out. And stay there for a few breaths. Right. And then bringing that foot down, we'll switch sides, bringing that knee in. And then bringing that foot down and just butterflying the knees apart a few times. So taking the knees toward the floor and back together. The hands can rest on the ground or on your body, doesn't matter, wherever is comfortable. Okay, and let's come back to the center for a moment, just resting wherever you're comfortable. Take a few breaths here and come back to that idea, that sense of how do you want to feel? What feeling do you want to bring more into your life? Breathing that in. You know, many of us have been told to feel, told how to feel our whole lives. And so tuning into how we might want to feel, or even how we do feel, can be actually challenging. So in whatever way you're able to connect to this idea of how you want to feel, maybe noticing where you want to feel it. Maybe a spaciousness around your heart, or softness in your belly. Okay. And then as you're ready, we're going to slowly transition to come to sitting. So you can roll over onto your side and come upright. And I'm noticing that I'm having an issue with the camera. So I'm just going to switch over. There we go. Okay, so we're coming back to a seated position. And you can use I've got a meditation cushion here. I also have a chair. If you have a chair handy and that's comfortable for you, that's a great option. If you're not that comfortable on the floor, it actually doesn't matter what your legs are doing so much. We're working with the upper body. So it's really most important that you're comfortable and can sit upright. So for me, that's sitting on a meditation cushion. For some, it's having the legs stretched out in front, or being on a chair, or sitting even up higher on a bolster. So just taking a moment to find a comfortable seat, to come to that seated position, and come into, as much as possible, a kind of alignment where your body is seated with your hips creating the base, the pelvis. So your two sit bones are planted. And if you like, you can close your eyes and bring your awareness and your attention down to those two sit bones, those 2 points. And if you don't quite feel 2 points, maybe you're sitting on something a bit softer, just really feeling the bottom of your pelvis sinking down. So you don't want to be rounded on your tailbone or perched forward toward your pubic bone. And then see if you can find a sense of, an internal sense of your shoulders lining up over your pelvis. So there's this internal plumb line. And then from there, imagine your head lining right up over your shoulders and over your pelvis, with the crown of your head being drawn up toward the ceiling and the chin coming actually slightly down towards your chest. And you're almost pulling your chin back towards your shoulders against the tendency to push the head forward, right, when we're driving or looking at a computer or a phone. So see if you can feel that internal plumb line from the crown of your head right down to your seat. Right? If it feels like it's challenging to sit like this, your muscles aren't used to holding your bones in this position, no, you're not alone. It can be a little bit challenging. Sometimes just getting the right seat or the right chair or the right cushion can make all the difference. So we won't stay here too long. We'll add a little bit of movement so you can start to bring the cat-cow movement to your spine. So arching the back and then rounding the back. So being first more like a cow, so they say, with an arch in the back, sort of lordosis, and then like a cat stretching its back. If you want to coordinate breathing, inhale as you arch, exhale as you round. And all the while, keeping really close into your mind and heart the way you want to feel. Breathing that feeling in, feeling like you're embodying the way you want to feel right now, in this very moment. Bringing your attention and letting it expand as you move. And then let's come back to a nice upright position again. I'm going to open the sides of the body a little bit with a side bend. So you can bring if you're on the ground, bringing the fingertips to the ground might be possible for you, or if you're sitting a little higher, maybe on a book or a block. If you're sitting on a chair, you're just going to bring your hand onto the chair and widen your legs a little bit so your feet are flat on the floor, legs a little wider, and that'll keep you nice and stable. So one hand on the ground or chair, other arm reaching up. And we really want to find length in the spine. You don't need to bring your shoulder right up to your ear, but keep your neck nice and relaxed. Take a breath in. You can walk the hand away or bend the elbow to allow your body to reach up and over to the side, and then come back to the center. So you don't have to breathe in any particular way. However, if you like to breathe in coordination with the breath, you would exhale as you go to the side and inhale as you come to the center. So really honoring your body and its edges. You want to keep both sitting bones planted, so both sides of the pelvis. And then if it feels comfortable, stay for a few breaths. If this arm up in the air isn't comfortable, hand can come to the shoulder, can come behind the back, it can rest on the hip, doesn't matter. So you don't want to strain the shoulder, but you will get a little deeper stretch if the arm is able to be engaged and lifted here. So a few breaths. Okay, and let's come back to the center and notice the side that you've just stretched. And perhaps there's a feeling of spaciousness. You can close your eyes and kind of tune in. And then notice the other side. So it may feel different on the side you haven't stretched yet. And I don't want to suggest how you should feel or how you might feel. But noticing, is there even a difference? Are you aware of a difference? It could be very subtle. Maybe you don't even really feel your body right now, and that's fine too. And let's try the other side. So same thing, hand to the chair or to the floor, lifting the other arm. And then reaching up and over. So we're not just collapsing down to the side, but reaching up and anchoring the sit bone at the same time. So whichever arm is up in the air, the same sit bone wants to lift, and you want to try to keep it nice and anchored to the ground. And again, if it feels right for you to stay, you can stay. Make sure you're either bending your elbow or walking your arm away so you don't end up in this position where your arm is locked and your shoulders jammed up to your ear. So lots of space. The neck is free. Breathing into that space. And when you're ready, coming right back up to center. Hands can rest on the thighs. Again, pause and notice what feels different, if anything, from one side to the other. What are you aware of? Great. And then you can start to bring in that arching and rounding movement again. And if your legs need to move into a different position, feel free to stretch, move your legs as well. Great. So we'll start to move towards a standing position. So obviously if you're in a chair, it's a little bit easier to get up. But if you're on the ground, you can go ahead and, come up right slowly in any way that feels right for you. So we're making our way to stand. And You know, when we're doing class in person, there's just a variety of ways that people move from the ground to standing based on what feels easiest. So getting yourself upright. Beautiful. So coming to mountain pose. And again, taking the arms to the sides and lift the arms up, taking a breath in. Bring the hands together overhead and bring them down toward the heart. So pausing again to tune in with how you want to feel. Breathing it in. Noticing, is there any resistance? Is there any story that pops up? And if so, we're just going to make space for it, lifting it up. Yep, you can live here too. Okay. And you might need to do that again, lifting up and releasing. And then we're going to give the body a shake. Right, taking the feet apart. Hands can come to the hips. Keep your knees soft. And a few little circles here with your hips. And as always, and especially today, moving slowly, tuning in, being as present with yourself as possible. And I know that sometimes when we slow down, the mind gets so busy. Just acknowledge that, let that be, right? That's a form of resistance. So, okay, chattery mind, fine. If I can tune into my hips for even a second, that's a win. Today, that's a win. Right? Going the other way. Notice what's present now. Beautiful. Coming back to center. I really like these slow circular movements. They lubricate the joints, you know, and you can kind of do it anywhere, just even in the grocery store. I suppose you could do a little hula dance. No one's looking, though these days the lineups, my goodness. So let's bring the shoulders up, back and down. Right, and then we're gonna roll one shoulder and the other and let the knees be really soft. Let your body swing. If it feels comfortable for your neck, you can gently move the head, but don't just let it swing around. So just gentle, easeful movements, one shoulder at a time. You can go backwards, you can go forwards. Just really tuning into how the goodness of it. And if it doesn't feel good, modify, do something else. Good. And again, let's come back to center, give a little shake. Beautiful. All right, so for the next one, we'll use either a chair or you can bring your hands to your thigh, and I'll have the chair, but I'll demonstrate it both ways, and it's absolutely fine to do it either way. It's just what feels better for you, maybe what feels more stable for you. So we'll take one foot a little bit forward from the other, and the back foot can turn out just a slight amount, whatever is comfortable, so you feel solid and stable. The front knee bends a little bit. And you'll take your arms, lift them up overhead. And then leading with your chest, come forward. And bring your hands to your thigh, or it could be down towards your chair. Or to your chair, ideally. Coming up, breathing in. Coming forward. It's really about keeping the spine long, the heart lifted here. So it's not about how far forward you go. It's not about trying to touch the ground, but really keeping that length in your spine all the way through the crown of your head. So you're not cranked and looking up. And this helps to strengthen the back. So it might feel like a little bit of work for your back. And if it feels like more work than your back is wanting today, you might just stay upright, raise and lower your arms. So if you're comfortable in the forward position, you can bring the hands to the knee or to the chair, letting the tail lift, chest come forward, elbows soft. I really like when I'm using a chair to hold the edges of the chair rather than having my hands flat, which I find hard on my wrists. So this way the fingers are relaxed and the wrists are a little more, less angle, more open. Okay, so if you want a little more stretch, move that front leg more straight, arch your back a little more. If you want less stretch, a little more bend, and even letting your back slightly come to neutral or even rounding. Right, so this movement of the pelvis, as you tilt the pelvis up, the spine will react by arching. That, as that pulls the pelvis up, it's pulling up on the hamstrings, which gives you that stretch in the back of the leg. So when you're ready to come up, see if you can come up with a nice, strong, long back, reaching up and releasing. Let's step the feet back together. And again, noticing, just as we did with the side bend earlier, what feels different on one side compared with the other, if anything? What are you aware of? What do you notice? You tune into your felt sense. What's there? So let's try the other side now. So taking the opposite foot forward, the other foot is back. Just a little bit of a bend in the front knee. You don't want to bend it so much that it's way past the ankle. We talk about this, in lunge and in warrior as well, that we're just bending so that the knee and the ankle kind of line up over each other, and that just gives us a nice stable stance in this pose, and it keeps us from over extending, which is when you lock the knee and push back, which is not necessarily a bad thing in every situation, but it's not always a good thing either. So coming up with the arms, coming forward either to your thigh just above your slightly bent knee, or hands to the chair. So if you want to coordinate breathing, always optional. Exhale forward, inhale, lifting. However, as always, the caveat is that you can also go at your own pace, follow your own breath, and do the movement in a way that feels comfortable. So again, here I invite you to bring your hands to the chair or to your thigh. With that instruction earlier of bringing the legs straighter, again, you probably aren't going to want to push back on that knee at all, not probably, you don't want to push back on your knee at all. So you're going to keep just a slight bend there and then work on finding the lift in the pelvis. So as you lift the sit bone, this back of the leg area, the hamstrings, 3 muscles there get lengthened. And then let's come up. So we'll lift up, pressing into the feet, reaching overhead, and releasing. And coming back to mountain pose. And again, noticing one side, the other side, what you're aware of. Okay. Try a little bit of balance work combined with a couple of different movements that we'll bring into it. So the first bit of balance work is to lift the heels and lower them. So that's it. Simple, but maybe not easy. Right, so lift and lower. Good. Now can you do it and breathe? So make sure you're not holding your breath. Great. And then if you want to add one more ball to juggle, you can lift the arms, lift the heels, and just make sure you're breathing. Okay, one more like that. And this time, as you lower your heels and bring your arms down, you're going to bend your knees and come into that half squat. And then we'll, in slow motion, so don't try to coordinate your breath with the movement here, just do make sure you're breathing, lifting up. We're going to slow it all down. The hardest part is getting your heels down slowly. They tend to want to crash land and then coming down. So slowly lifting. If you lose your balance, that's okay. Slowly lowering, continuing into that gentle half squat. You can lean over the legs a little bit. Good, last one, coming down into the half squat. Great, and then we'll keep the heels down and just lift back up to stand. All right, and then give everything just a gentle little shake. Beautiful. So I'm just going to move my chair to the side. If you've got a chair right beside you, you may want to do the same. So take the legs a little further apart for this one. And here you can take one foot and turn it all the way to the side and let your kneecap follow. So your kneecap and your foot are pointing to the side, and then the other foot can turn a little bit in the same direction, whatever feels comfortable. Your hips are somewhere in the middle, right? So your hips don't turn all the way with your front foot, but they're probably not going to stay centered towards the front of your mat unless your knee starts to do something wonky, right? So always in this position, this knee is our priority, right? So we don't want it twisting in. We want it to be over the foot. And we're going to take the arms to the sides, reach down towards the bent knee, reach up and back towards the straight leg. So keeping the lower body really grounded and stationary as the upper body swings gently side to side, and find your gracefulness if you can in this movement. Right? There's a little bit of wind outside today, and I'm seeing just a few branches out my window, just waving in the breeze. You might think of a willow tree, just gently waving. Right, you can come down to the side, reach up, relax the down shoulder. So the hand is really just resting there. Could be more upright. Great, let's come back to the center, straighten the leg, and let's bring the feet together. And again, it's always interesting to notice, to just take stock of what's shifted in my body from doing that pose. What am I aware of? We live so much in our heads, and yoga is a great opportunity to tune in and to take the time to really befriend our bodies. Let's do the other side. So feet apart. You're going to turn the other foot out now. What we'll call the back foot is the one that's sort of a little bit more behind me. You can find the angle that feels right there. And then bending the knee. And again, you want to prioritize this knee being comfortable over your ankle and not worrying about what's really going on with your hips so much. Right? As much as possible, they're facing the way they were before you turned your feet, but we're prioritizing the knee. So you can look down and just make sure that that's there. And then out to the side, you'll reach down. You can place your hand on your thigh or just bring it on the inside of the shin. You're reaching back the other way. And again, channeling your inner weeping willow tree here, finding some ease and grace. Your legs are like the trunk, so sturdy and strong. And your upper body is swaying so effortlessly. If that's the way you want to feel, believe that. You're bringing in whatever you want to feel. I want to feel strong. I want to feel flexible. Let your body breathe that in. And one more breath here. And we'll come upright. Bring the feet parallel. You can release the arms and step your feet together. And give a little shake. And let's take a big breath and make some sound of some kind on your exhale, even if it's just a loud sound of your breath or a humming or a yawning, a sighing. Just let that release a little bit. So we'll take a breath in. Good. And another. Great. And for good measure, let's do good things come in threes, right? One more breath. Lovely. So if it's comfortable for you, you can bring the feet a little wider. If you prefer feet closer, that's fine. You'll feel more stretch the wider your legs are in this position. So it's really going to be up to you for what is the appropriate amount of stretch. So we'll start with feet sort of a reasonable distance, taking the arms overhead. So really lengthening the spine as you reach up. And then you can come forward and either bring your hands onto your thighs or your elbows to your thighs. And then for many of you, you may be able to bring your fingertips to the floor. And, you know, the floor gets closer the wider your feet are. So if you're close, you might just widen a little bit if that's comfortable and get your fingertips to the floor. You can also bring your hands to a chair for this one. And here you can move one leg a little more bent, one a little more straight, and then the other way. So you're going to go very slowly and gently side to side. If fingertips is uncomfortable, go to fists or bring your hands onto blocks or books or a chair. So we're gently moving one leg a little more bent as the other becomes a little more straight. You can absolutely do this with your hands on your thighs, but again, you just want to be really cautious about pushing back. So you're not going to fully straighten the straight leg. Right, and then come to the center. Again, it could be elbows on your thighs. Here you could, if you feel comfortable with this position, is to let your body dangle forward. This is not a position you want to do if you've got anything going on with your sinuses or if you have high blood pressure or eye pressure, ear pressure, anything like that. You definitely want to be more upright, keeping your head above your heart. Right, when you're ready to come up from here, you can come back to your fingertips. If it helps you to walk your feet in just a little bit, if you've taken them really wide, it's a bit easier and they're a bit narrower, and then you can lift all the way up. And release. So again, stepping in, shaking, sigh, all the tools coming out today. And then we're going to make our way down onto the ground again. So again, I invite you to get down in the most comfortable way for you. It might look different from how I get to the ground. Taking your time, and come back onto your back. You can bring your hands onto your body if that's comfortable for you, or onto the ground. You can stretch your legs out or have them bent, again, according to what is most comfortable for you. And then again, I invite you to come into an awareness, feeling how you want to feel as much as you can kind of ignite that feeling inside of you. So for instance, you know, you might just want to feel more happy. And so I'm imagining what happy feels like in your body. And for me, it feels like kind of butterflies in my chest. So as I breathe in, I'm breathing in and giving those butterflies a little life. So whatever helps you to connect with the body sense of how you're feeling, if that makes sense for your mind. If not, that if your body doesn't work that way or your mind doesn't work that way right now, just however you want to feel. So take a few more breaths with this. And then as you focus on this feeling of, with this example, being happy, feeling more happy, you might notice a little story emerge, like, I can't be happy until X or Y happens. Right? So you notice that story and you welcome it to the table. Welcome story. I don't need to solve you. I don't need to fix you. I don't need to push you away. I welcome you. So as you tune into your own feeling, how you want to feel, as you tune into that, as you give it some energy with your breath, if any stories or any sensations arise that are a counter to this feeling, you're just going to invite them in, give them a seat at the table. So staying with this. And if this feels aligned for you, if this feels like it's making sense to you and you want to kind of stay with this theme, you can just transition into Shavasana, maybe moving your body, maybe not. Maybe staying exactly as you are. And you can also just let this theme go and come into Shavasana, just really releasing the theme, trusting, and letting it go. And if you prefer to sit for our final meditation, relaxation, you're welcome to do that. So transition, if you're moving, just keeping your attention inward, shifting as you need to, and then really allowing your body to settle into wherever you are right now or wherever you're moving towards, if you're still moving. Again, sighing or humming or yawning, just making that release, letting go, and transitioning into just letting go a little more deeply for a few minutes of focused relaxation. So coming back to your breath now, softening your breath, feeling where your body meets the ground. And as you exhale, letting those meeting points melt and soften. We'll start at the feet today. And bringing your awareness to your feet, to your ankles, your toes. And imagine that you're breathing your good feeling, the way you want to feel, right down into your feet, right down into your toes. And any resistance you meet, welcoming it with open arms. And then breathing your good feeling down into the space between your knees and your ankles. Filling your body with this good feeling. Welcoming any resistance that may be there. Continuing to fill up your upper legs from knees to hips. Breathing that good feeling in and down. Welcoming in any resistance. Not giving it your energy. Seeing it. Welcoming it. And then breathing that good feeling right down into the pelvis, into the lower belly, the lower back. Breathing it into your belly. Feeling this good feeling deep in your belly and meeting any resistance with love. And breathing this into your heart, into your upper back, into your shoulders. Breathing it down your arms to your hands. Breathing your own special good feeling up into your neck, your throat. Acknowledging any resistance, welcoming it, even if it's uncomfortable a little bit. If you can tolerate it, welcome it. Filling your head with this good feeling. And feeling yourself expand enough to hold all of the resistance and all of the goodness together. Breathing in and out. Trusting that whatever doesn't serve our purpose, whatever resistance isn't for our highest good and our highest purpose, that it will just melt and soften as we give it space. And I'll share with you a short chant today that's an ancient chant. It's a honoring to the sun and to the sun's healing power to burn away that which doesn't serve us anymore. To burn it away, not through fighting or denying or pushing, but just bringing it to the light. Om Tat Saviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayate. Om Apo Jyoti Raso Amritam Brahma Bhurbhuvasuvar Om. So as you start to feel ready, you can take your breath a bit deeper. And if you still feel like you want to rest and relax, then by all means do so. If you're ready to emerge, move on with your day, breathing a little more deeply, moving, stretching, wiggling your fingers and toes, just moving in whatever way might feel good. Right, and you can roll to your side and come to sitting if you've made that choice. And then from here, taking the arms to the sides, lifting, bringing the hands together, bringing that good feeling that you've been working with back to your heart. And imagine yourself carrying it through your week. Imagine yourself feeling this way as you go through your days. Carrying it with you, giving it energy, giving it space in your life to blossom. Namaste.